Hello Taurus, and welcome to your February 2025 tarot card reading. So we are going to go ahead and get started here with an oracle card. So what is it that Taurus needs to know for February 2025? We start with a card that says you are very close to achieving your goal, which obviously is a good omen that your hard work is probably starting to pay off. You're going to start seeing results. You're going to start seeing closure of things as well, which is also really good, which means that things are likely to start opening up for you afterwards, right? And I think this has a lot to do with Mars retrograde, okay? Because Mars retrograde officially ends on the 23rd. Okay, we actually have a lot of turnaround energy in February, actually. Jupiter will station direct on the 4th, and then Mars stations direct on the 23rd. So there does seem to be kind of a really nice lurching energy where everything is going to start lurching forward again, which I think we've been craving for a few months now, especially if things have been going especially slowly. It's also really important to note, Taurus, that your ruling planet Venus will be coming through Aries this month, where she will be in her pre-shadow phase. So she's going to start preparing for a retrograde, which we know doesn't happen all that often with Venus. So, it's going to be kind of a potent month, I would say, for you. So let's see what else comes out. Co-create with spirit. Okay. That's kind of an interesting card to get. We don't get that card very often from this deck. So it does seem to be really special and unique for you. Just kind of to remember that this is a little bit of a partnership, that this isn't entirely you all alone. You are going to have to take steps and hold yourself accountable for things, though. So it's not as though you could just sit back and do nothing. This is not spirit's responsibility 100%. Okay, we are going to have to show how eager we are to close these goals, to achieve closure, to come to conclusion, and to be willing to really open up whatever is next for us, okay? We'll see what else comes out to maybe support this co-create with spirit card. Let's see, Taurus, what else do you need to know? We have the Hanged Man. Okay, these are interesting 3 major arcana, but they're kind of mellow, especially the first 2, Hanged Man and Temperance. These are very mellow cards, okay? The Hanged Man does indicate kind of a long period of delay or suspension. This is what I mean, where you're very close to achieving your goal. You may have been feeling like things have kind of been prolonged, or they haven't been happening as quickly as you would like, or maybe there have been delays of other people doing things. You're waiting on people, you're waiting on things, whatever. But, this time when we are in these period of delays, typically what it does is it gives us time to acclimate, time to familiarize ourselves with new things, and time to come into higher levels or higher degrees of wisdom, which can be useful and beneficial for the future. And so, yes, it can be frustrating to feel like we kind of have our hands tied behind our back, but when we start to see things from new perspectives and new angles because of those delays and that, hands behind our back feeling, that is going to likely translate into higher wisdom for what it is we need to create next. So with the Temperance card, there does seem to be some kind of a reallocation going on where you might be pouring energy, time, attention, money, resources, whatever, from one area, kind of moving that into another area, or kind of, like I say, reallocating. So I'm not saying you're completely pulling away from one to give to another. It's more as though you're trying to achieve some type of a balance there. But what I really like about Temperance is there does seem to be a coherence, an internal coherence between our head, our heart, and our gut, where there's kind of like this 3 triangular, like 3-pronged system that we have built in internally that feels like all these gears are working in tandem and we're not in inner conflict right now. This is an amazing place for us to be. Now, if you are feeling like you are in an inner conflict, chances are you're either trying to push against some kind of energy or person or thing that you really don't need to be. With this Hanged Man, there's not, I mean, we'll see what the rest of the cards have to say, but at least as we come into February, which again, Venus comes into Aries where she will be retrograding. And Jupiter stations direct in Gemini. Okay, so we have those two kind of bigger things happening in that first week, both happening actually on the 4th. So between now and like really just the first week of February, I think we just need to pull back. Okay, we need to detach just a little bit, and we can focus on the projects that we already have going. And again, we want to focus on closing those things out as much as we can, so that when we hit March and April, we'll be free and available to really open up to a lot of new projects. Okay, but a lot of the wisdom that you're kind of acquiring right now, whether you realize that or not, it is going to be channeled and used for these new creations with the Magician. Something does seem to be brewing, okay? And because we are in the brewing process right now, it makes sense that there's not like an initial trigger or activation of something necessarily. Oh, Annie just came in to say hi. Oh, she's going to sit on the cards, of course. So this whole activation thing, it does feel like you're being timed or you're being paced right now, that the universe is kind of keeping you on some type of a specific schedule, okay? So let's see what else comes through here for Taurus. Justice, a lot of majors. What's funny, these majors are not like, well, we'll see. Obviously, I don't want to speak too soon, but we're not getting like the Devil or the Tower or anything really dramatic. They all indicate peace, stability, equality, things coming back into balance, that kind of thing. I had a feeling she wasn't going to stay very long. Otherwise, I would have kicked her off. So justice is here to say exactly that as well. And maybe like the thing with the Hanged Man is that it is so difficult to perceive properly. So like I say, our perspective is shifting, but we still don't have a lot of clarity. And I don't think we're really seeing how things are coming into balance. It's very tricky because as the North Node comes into this conjunction with Neptune, and I mentioned this in the January readings as well, that just we don't have the type of clarity that we would like to have, because this is a very fuzzy, hazy kind of astrological situation we have going on. You know, Mercury is going to enter Pisces. We have the sun coming into Pisces later on in the month. And it's just, Pisces is a little bit more challenging because it's kind of, it distorts things. So while things are in fact coming to balance, things are in fact working out, the scales are kind of doing this counterbalancing act right now to help you reach an equilibrium. And again, this is what I mean with a temperance. We're not trying to fully remove resources from one thing to push it into another. We want to maybe just take a little bit here and find balance over there. So again, we have equality and we're not spreading ourselves too thin, or we're not operating in extremes. Now, that's not always the advice. You know, sometimes operating in extremes can be a good thing. Sometimes going all in on something and giving everything you got into one thing is a great way to really build momentum. But right now, I don't know that that's what Taurus is really needing or looking for. I think what Taurus needs is just kind of stability. You're needing things to be peaceful and easy and simple. And, you know, now justice can be a little chaotic sometimes as those scales do start to make their way into the equilibrium, but it's not always, I mean, it's not, again, it's not like the Tower card or anything like that. So again, I'm not saying this is a perfect process. but it is helping you to establish a greater degree of ease in your life. Now, coming back to this co-create with spirit, I didn't really know where this was going, but this to me really speaks to your alignment. Like I say with temperance, kind of your head, your heart, and your gut alignment, where all those gears are operating in tandem, so you don't have a lot of, stuff kind of working against you inside of you. You seem to be coming into a place of streamlining, and we know that being coherent like that is the best way to create and initiate. Because like I say, something is brewing for Taurus. Something is kind of swirling around. I don't know that you've officially activated quite yet with this Magician, or at least in the beginning of February. I don't think you will. Maybe you're learning something right now. Maybe there's more information that you need. Maybe the right people haven't shown up or whatever, but that stuff is on the way. Okay. But again, I feel like your efforts really are better spent not on the new endeavors, but on really closing out the old ones and getting to that point of achievement with goals that are already outstanding. All right, that is what is going to help to balance these scales. And with the Page of Wands, this feels optimistic and happy, adventurous, and a willingness to take things one day at a time. It's kind of funny because this feels so opposite of the Aries reading that I just did, where it was so much about taking these big leaps and everything. And this feels completely the opposite, where it's just one step, one little thing at a time, and allowing yourself to slowly acclimate into this place that you're getting to, the place that you can't even really see clearly anyway, because the Hanged Man has a little too much influence coming out first. And so it's like you kind of have to take one day at a time, deal with the issues that present themselves, and then kind of over time, you will start to really see how this path is starting to make sense. It kind of feels like one of those old connect the dots, like when you were a kid, you'd play that little connect the dots game, and you'd play the connect the dots, and at first you're like, I have no idea what this is. Oh, there's all these random lines everywhere, and then all of a sudden, boom, you start to see a picture. And I think that's kind of where you're at right now, is that you're not really seeing how all these dots connect. But they are in fact connecting, and there is in fact a bigger picture. And with that North Node conjunct Neptune, I also mentioned the importance of faith and trust. And I think right now this is a time when Taurus really has to exhibit a lot of faith and trust. And even here with the Four of Cups, it feels extremely reserved. Like you're not jumping into things. I'm not saying you can't be excited about stuff, but there does seem to be some kind of energy either holding you back. Maybe it's the Hanged Man. Again, keeping your hands tied behind. How available is Taurus really? Not that available. And it's because Spirit needs you to be in this available state. You need to be available for Spirit, right? You don't need to be available for other people, right? Or, I use that, I say that loosely. Okay, obviously you want to be available for your kids and for your spouse and things like that. But as far as new opportunities or new jobs or new whatever, I'm wondering, I'm not saying don't do anything. I don't know how to make this make sense. I'm not saying don't do anything, but just know that this is probably not the final stop. If you have to do something to do it, then do it. Close out the goals. Let's get you to a place where you're not worried about the old stuff anymore, and you can take care of all those outstanding items. Because again, something is brewing, and there's going to be an opportunity. I don't know that this is happening this month, this Magician, this spark, right? Yeah, I feel like this is what it's all for, is creating room for the Magician, which is going to be that moment when all of a sudden things start to change rapidly and in a big way, and you need to be emotionally and spiritually prepared for that. And so the universe is kind of keeping you at bay here. But again, let's say you've been out of work for a really long time. I'm not saying don't take a job if a job opportunity comes your way. just know that maybe it's going to be a temporary job, because that's really all it needs to be, because there's something bigger and better later on. So it's kind of like that. You're just not all that available for things, which is fine. It's fine to not be available for things right now. There's something bigger brewing. So let's see what else comes out, okay? Yeah, exactly. Because this is the time when a lot of things start to change. Now, I'm not going to promise this month that you're going to have the clarity. I simply won't do it, because we also end the month with the Seven of Cups. We end the month with a lot of Pisces activity, if I could say it properly. A lot of Piscean energy can, again, very, very much distort our perspective. And there's a lot of illusionary stuff that can go on there as well. And with your ruling planet, Venus, being in the 12th house in pre-shadow, it kind of makes it feel a little like it's just a strange energy around things. But obviously Ace of Wands. Now the Ace of Wands and the Magician start to go hand in hand. So I actually think the real magic is going to start in Pisces season for Taurus. This is when we start to kind of project out into the universe a little bit more effectively. Because again, the beginning of February seems more about just establishing balance and security. That's more what it seems to be about. We want to feel sure, a little bit more sure-footed in where we're standing right now. And then the new stuff can kind of start to come in, because we're in a more stable position to be able to receive it. And that's why the Page of Wands, I think, is good, because it's like, well, you can still do stuff and still take it one day at a time and finish closing these things out. But we don't want to take these huge, massive leaps, because we don't want to disrupt what's coming down the line. And I look at this Ace of Wands and I think, okay, Pisces season, there's something coming down the line for you. So end of February, beginning of March is really when you're going to start to see that Ace of Wands. It's going to be a powerful desire. It's going to be an adventurous desire. Now keep in mind, February 23rd, is when Mars stations direct. So I actually think this Ace of Wands aligns well with that Mars station direct. So after the 23rd, it's probably when that Ace of Wands energy is going to start to come online. And it seems to be aligned with kind of the grander vision that you've held for a very long time. That 10 of Coins is your vision board. It's what you dream of. It's what you hope to manifest. It's everything that you've envisioned for yourself and for your life. And while in February, you're not going to get all of it, but I think the Magician, Page of Wands, and Ace of Wands are excellent first steps. Co-create with Spirit. Again, this is a partnership. So you're going to have to trust that the universe is guiding you in a high quality way, the way it always does. It's just like I always talk about the delicate dance between us as kind of free will beings and the universe at large, or spirit and God. And there's always this delicate dance where sometimes we need to put forth more effort, and then the universe can respond, and then we do this and the universe responds, and back and forth and back and forth. But sometimes there's kind of this, and I think this is one of those moments where it's not always like so black and white like that. Sometimes there's kind of like weird timing issues, and sometimes those things kind of align. So it's kind of like, and then we kind of hit this point where they're both growing together. And I feel like there's an expansion of spirit and an expansion of you that's happening simultaneously. So there, again, it's not really only about what you do. It's more about the energy that you're putting out there and the space that you're creating for what comes next. And the universe wants the exact same thing that you want, which is what the Ace of Wands and Page of Wands is really all about, is getting you closer and closer to this vision. But when I think you hit this Ace of Wands, there's a part of you that understands this is going to lead you to your 10 of coins. But again, you're still connecting these dots and you're still like, but I don't quite understand how. Like, I know it's going to lead me to my 10 of coins, but I really don't get where the connection is. I don't get how this all goes together. And this is one of those times where, again, you're moving together, you're moving in tandem with spirit. So you have to just say, okay, like, let's do the Ace of Wands. Let's go for it. Let's try it. Let's see how this goes. And that's it. That's really all you can do. You have power with closing out your long-standing or your long-term goals. You have power there, but I don't think you have power kind of in terms of like bringing that big picture stuff to you very quickly. All right, Taurus, I'm so sorry my camera froze. I use my phone to record and it got a phone call because I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb. So I'm sorry about that, but I didn't really miss anything. I was about to pull out the clarifiers anyway. So let's go ahead and get into the clarifiers. So for those of you who are new, I'm about to pull out 27 new cards. We're going to clarify and open up each and every one of these 9 cards here, and we're going to get a lot more detail to the story. So if you want to join for the comprehensive, the link to do so will be in the description box and the pinned comment thread down below. All right, so Taurus, let's see what you need to know about the Hanged Man for February 2025. What is it that you need to know here? We have the 9 of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Coins. Actually, I feel like those two wanted to come out. High Priestess, Knight of Cups, and King. A lot of court cards coming through. That's a Taurus card there, the King of Coins. We have the Devil. Yeah, I had a feeling there was like some kind of thing, blockage there, timing going on with that Magician card. Okay, beautiful. King of Swords there. The Emperor. Another Hanged Man. What is it that needs to come into balance for you, Taurus? What is it? 10 of Coins. Another Temperance card. A lot of repeated themes coming through for you already. We haven't even finished clarifying everything yet. Another Magician. 7 of Swords. 10 of Swords, excuse me, 10 of Swords. Wheel of Fortune, beautiful, I love that. Page of Wands, 8 of Swords. Ace of Coins, 6, even more cards of balance. That's just crazy on this, for these clarifiers, lots of balance. Page of Cups, King of Cups, Queen, a lot of court cards too. Okay. A lot of people coming through in this. All right, Taurus. So this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join, you are more than welcome. Sorry for the little interruption. Thank you so much. I hope you all have an amazing February, and I'll talk to you soon.